Hello and welcome to episode 3 from my do-it-yourself solar bike project. And yes, it works, and it works really well. At the moment of creation of this video, the prototype has done already more than 1500 kilometers. After the last video, so many questions were asked, so I decided to do this FAQ video first before I will dive into the different subjects on the making process of the handbike. First question, what am I actually doing here and what's the goal of the project? I had the idea of building a vehicle which can do the longest range taken from a combination of muscle and electric energy, and with solar electric energy, in the best case, endless range. The second question was, why do I actually use a handbike? The answer is very simple. Due to the disease I have, ankylosing spondylitis, a rheumatic disease, I have fixed hips and a fixed spine, so I cannot ride a normal bike, and I'm limited to handbikes. So the selection of a handbike as base frame for this project was just a logic consequence. Finding the right base was not easy at all, but thanks to Markus Pösendorfer from Para Climbing Team Austria, I found one. Yes, for those who did not know yet, I'm also an active para climber, and this helped me a lot. So thank you again, Marcos. The next question is about the source of power. How many watts are coming from my arms and how much is coming from the engine? The Solarbike technology is based on an e-bike. To be exact, it's pedelec technology. That means it needs the driver's input at the cranks in order to supply electric support up to a maximum speed of 25 kilometers per hour. I could go faster than that, but above 25 kilometers per hour there's no electric support anymore. That's how the laws in the European Union want it for so-called pedelecs. So without turning the cranks there's no electric help, but I decide about how much I want to invest from my arms and how much I accept from electric support. Let's now talk about the detailed data. To be super exact and precise, I would need a roller test bench and a dynamometer built in the cranks. I don't have that at the moment, so I can just estimate roughly. Because of my paraclimbing activities, I have to perform regular performance tests at the national team doctor, Volker Schöffel. Greetings, by the way. And from those tests, I know that I can perform for 2 minutes at 125 watts from my arms. Over a shorter period of time, there's even more possible, but on long term, the threshold is lower. From the e-bike data, I know that in the current version, with the vehicle weight of around 65 kilos at the moment, racing bike tires, and in an even terrain with good asphalt, I need around 150 watts of electric energy to keep the maximum speed of 25 kilometers per hour. At the moment, it's completely unknown how much of that energy is lost along the way to the surface of the road, lost in heat, for example. But I want to find that out and optimize it as far as possible. The rest of the energy, aside the 150 watts from the engine, are coming from my arms and shoulders. Next question, how fast can you go with that? As I said before, the legal limit is 25 kilometers per hour in the European Union until the electric support quits. If you want to go faster, there's a class of pedelecs, the so-called S pedelecs. They go up to 45 kilometers per hour, but they need a special licensing procedure, including an insurance and also a driver license. So this is clearly not part of this project. I limited myself for this project to 25 kilometers per hour. Steep hills can not be climbed with full speed for sure. I had hills where I just went up with half of walking speed, centimeter by centimeter. But in contrast to that, if I go downhill, I already went over 60 kilometers per hour. So in which relation can you put that performance now? I would say it like this. In comparison to racing bike drivers, I'm faster than the untrained ones, but from the well-trained, I can only see the back wheel. On the testing rounds around the island Mallorca, I did some racing just for fun with other racing bikers on the roads, and it's big fun to see that I'm actually able to keep up with them and that it performs. Next question. How much energy is coming from the solar panels? On my roof, I've mounted 2 solar panels with a combined peak performance of 300 watts. The flat orientation is not the ideal way of orienting the panel. So to sum it up, it's 300 watt peak of solar panel power. The engine has an average power of 250 watts. The peak performance is higher, and the battery capacity is 1.5 kilowatt hours, which is a lot for an e-bike. Most e-bikes have just half of that, or maybe just a third of that capacity. Next question. Do you have recuperation braking on the bike? No, I don't. My type of engine does not support it. Recuperational braking is getting back electric energy at the braking process. That means putting back the electric energy from the moving energy and braking by that. But in my opinion, recuperation braking makes more sense with higher speeds and higher vehicle masses, like cars, for example. So if you go down hills, at a certain point, the air resistance will grow so far that you won't get any faster, and there is no braking needed, except roads that are very steep or you have tight corners where you have to brake hard and strong. So in those moments it would help a lot to have regenerative braking, but those moments are rather short and rare in my opinion, and it makes way more sense to have that technology with higher speeds and higher masses. But recuperation could be used for another thing. So I could charge actively my battery by turning on recuperative braking and putting all my human energy into that to charge the battery if there is no solar power available. The downside of that it's not very efficient and it will cost a lot of human power. Next question. How far can you go with this setup and how long is the actual range? The question is not so easy to answer and depends a lot from the sunshine, the height profile of the road, the state of charge of the battery at the start of the tour. And if the sun shines, it's almost impossible to empty the battery during the day, except you drive all day uphill and the engine runs with maximum peak performance, which is not recommended anyway, as it can overheat this way. If there is no sun because of clouds or at night, the maximum range depends on the personal energy management with the arms and for sure height profile of the road. My test showed so far that I can go up to 150 kilometers with a fully charged battery and without the support of sun. But as I said, hills and personal energy management play a big role here. Then we have another question about energy management. Is it possible to alternate the use of muscle groups like you can do with click paddles on a normal bike? Yes, it is. You can indeed play with different muscle groups like with a normal click paddle on a normal bike where you can push down and you can also pull up and move your feet to the front and to the back, so applying the full force at the full circle movement of the feet. Same with the arms. You can use the full circle movement. I, for example, alternate sometimes the pulling muscle chain, meaning latissimus and biceps, with the pushing muscle chain, meaning pectoralis and triceps. This way, unused muscle groups can pause a little bit while the other takes over the load. Same about switching in between the right and left side.
Wow, wow, wow. Das ist schon so ein Traum. Mit dem selbstgebauten Solar Handbike die Straßen zu fahren, die man sonst vielleicht mal mit dem Auto gemacht hat und gedacht hat, boah krass. Und jetzt geht das einfach so. Mal eben eine kleine Runde fahren um die Insel. Na okay, ist eine große Runde, aber oder soll die große Runde werden. Wahnsinn. Und Martin war bekloppt genug, nicht Nein zu sagen. Aber der leidet ganz schön ordentlich. Aber gut, er hat auch ideale Bedingungen. Er muss nichts schleppen. Sogar sein Wassertank, Nachfüllwasser habe ich dabei. Seine Klamotten, alles. dieser Tour erstmalig mit dabei. Trinksystem. Mir hier in den Helm reingebastelt. Bedarf noch ein bisschen Übung.
Next question. How does the steering system work at the handbike? The front wheel is not steered like a normal bike where you turn it to the sides, it's tilted to the sides, and this way it creates the steering angle on the road. So you can see in these tight corners with 180-degree pretty much the narrowest angle that you can handle with a handbike. So I had to learn to drive strategically and also park the vehicle in a smart way in order not to continue the trip with a manual 180-degree turn because I just parked in front of a wall, for example. In the worst case, I can just lift the bike from the front wheel and turn it, but depending on the impairment people have, this is not possible. An alternate option is to push myself back with my hands on the road or just grab into the back wheel and circle back and forth to conquer my way around the corner. The next question is about money. How much did the project cost so far? Currently, the overall sum is something in between 4,000 and 5,000 euros for the project, as it's shown now and here. Starting with a second-hand handbike base frame. On top of that comes a complete e-bike conversion kit. That means an engine controller, a hub motor which is located inside the front wheel, self-made battery that are soldered together from recycled laptop batteries. There will also be a full video about that. We need charge controllers and a lot of material inside that. Then there's also a new and enforced braking system, and a lot of money was spent into ideas and systems which were just wrong or almost worked. But after all, it's worth it, and it's a lot of fun, and that's the most important part for me. Next questions. What do other traffic participants, such as car drivers, say about the vehicle? Reactions are very different here, and mostly the others are really excited and friendly, waving, cheering, filming, running after me. And whenever I stop somewhere, I get asked a lot of questions. What is the idea of this and how does it work? So I have to explain a lot in detail. But there are also some people who behave very aggressive because it seems like they don't like my existence and speed on the road.
Kollege!
Yeah, sadly, this is how it looks like on the streets.
Der kam übrigens ganz fix da unten rausgeschossen
Ja.
aus der Kurve.
Ja.
And now the last question that came up after the last video. How can you be so crazy and go with 50 kilometers per hour down a hill without a helmet? Well, as you can see, I can do that. I did it. And for sure it's not the best idea. So from now on, always with a helmet.
Jetzt wird's kalt. Geht jetzt 14 Kilometer oder 17 Kilometer? Irgendwie so. Nur bergab.
Okay.
Bis auf Meereshöhe runter. Das wird lustig. So, hier noch ein Stück. Okay.
Helm aufsetzen mal lieber.
Oh, Helm, stimmt.
Oh, warte, ich gebe ihn dir.
Der alte Fehler.
Immer dasselbe.
Solange er nicht auf dem Dach liegt und ich losfahre, ne?
Genau.
Lalala. Ist ja ich habe gehört, dass es einem Freund passiert. Ich hatte da so einen Freund, der hat seinen Helm auf dem Dach liegen lassen.
Ja.
Und dann ist er tatsächlich losgefahren.
Dann ist er auch irgendwann hinüber.
Ja, er hat dann 2 Kilometer später hat es gemerkt, dass irgendwas fehlt, ist dann wieder umgedreht und hat ihn dann nochmal mitgenommen.
Ja.
Okay. So. Kommt kein Auto. Los geht's. Licht an.
And thank you, Andreas Band, that I may use your helmet, and thank you that you are also a part of this project this way. Please feel hugged in honor and farewell. In this sense, I say have fun and see you in the next video.